Okay, guys. Well, we're going to talk about a few things here. This is going to be a collection of thoughts and a little bit of cryptotherapy pep talk because I think it's kind of probably time because a few of you are freaking out. More than a few of you are freaking out. And right off the top here, I want to say, I enjoy talking with all you guys. I enjoy kind of counseling some of you guys off the ledge. A lot of people on the ledge today. But that being said, I've got to say it. I got to be tough about it because it gets out of control if I don't. If you are not a Platinum Pro, do not send me private DMs because that is not your place. That is not your level of privilege. Out of niceness, I respond, but I'm going to be a little more tough about that. Now, if you guys are not subscribed at all, sorry, guys. I'm not responding to private DMs. I'm just not. It's not fair to me because my time is extremely priceless right now. And you're in the free room, you get what you get. If you guys want to subscribe, yes, definitely subscribe. If you want to subscribe and you're like, well, I can't quite swing it, if you've been a subscriber before, I'll get you a coupon. You can get in a little bit cheaper, but that's the deal. I'm not here to hand out, table scraps because you're sitting there looking at me with sad puppy dog eyes. Help me, help me, help me. I am helping you. You're in the free room. You're getting more information than most of the unwashed masses that are out there drifting around in the tide with no idea what's going on. I throw a lot of stuff for free. If you care to listen, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, and I'm here. So you're going to have to do a little scavenger hunt to pull together something, and you're going to have to marshal your resources and come up with a way to get back in the game. It's just as simple as that. So don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is a business, and I gotta run it like a business. All right. So that being said, I am going to put this video in the free room. So here comes some more free shit. So all right. So that being said, I'm getting a lot of DMs from people going, "Oh my God, it's going up, it's going up. You said it was going down." I did say it's going down, and I'm still saying it's going down. I've been saying this, guys. This is another one of these things that I have said it. I know at least. I've been watching myself. I know at least the last six videos that I've put out in VIP, unpublicly, and whatever have said the same thing over and over and over again. But some of you seem to miss what I'm saying because you want to hear something different because your eyes are telling you something different. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing the voice of experience. You're not understanding the logic of what I'm telling you. So we're going to say it again. This is setting up a liquidity exit. This is a must-do thing for the big boys, and let's talk about that. Bitcoin is hitting all-time highs. What can get the sheep running down the gate for a good old-fashioned shearing faster than a new all-time high? And have I missed any of these calls? Ping, 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 ping is on its way. We're going to be to a dual AI line. Doge, I've been hitting the crap out of Doge. I'm well over 7 calls straight up. Dead stall, next one, next one, next one. We'll talk about Doge here in a little bit. But Bitcoin is going to be hitting this dual AI line zone. From here, I can't tell you, but I can give you a pretty good theory as to what I think is going to happen. When we get to around about 88, maybe a little higher, I don't know that we'll hit 90. Things are going to change because we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight days of green. This is not normal, boys and girls. You know it's not. If you've been around for a while, we got to get some red. There's got to be a little bit of rain on your sunshine. We've had a week of sunshine. It's time for some rain. They're going to pull it down. And when they do, it's going to start, the coping will start. And you can already see Anubis has got 100% probable, I have to always use that word, probable, 100% probable odds of dropping to 72,745. I agree. I agree it's going to go even lower. I think it's going to go down here to this cluster. It's going to be that first target down here at 68.8. Won't be right away. We'll get a little bit of a gyration, probably back up to here and then a drop. Nothing straight line plunges. I know when I talk about drop, a lot of you guys probably think, just wake up one day and it's just boom, straight down to the target. And it's not going to be like that. I mean, where's the fun in that? We gotta crush everybody's hopes and dreams. It stages. If you go back and you look at that chart that used to circulate the cycle of a market, if anyone can find that, post it again in the free room because I think that's really necessary for people to look at. Don't ignore that. It's real. It was made based upon fact. Nowhere on that market cycle will you see a straight run up and just a red candle down to the basement? It doesn't work that way. They pump you up and then they drop it. And they pump you up a little bit, making you think that the good times are here again, and then they drop you. And that's just how it goes. And this is going to go right on into probably March. But we're going to see some pretty hellacious drops, I would imagine, based upon a lot of bad shit that's coming. And so it's difficult. We have to always constantly bring Tether back into this conversation. There are so many things. I don't want to sidetrack this video too much, but there are so many major things could be just the unifying reason why this market is going to go to hell. As I've said before, let's just take it straight with Bitcoin. Bitcoin derives most of its value off of Tether. Tether is a ticking time bomb. When it goes, it will take everything attached to it down. Bitcoins, shitcoins, side trades, scared people, liquidity exits. It's going to take everything down. We have a deadline from Coinbase Europe saying we're not doing business with Tether anymore. I'm not saying that's the day, January 1st, but it's going to be the start. It's going to be a line in the sand where you're going to see some definable downward moves, probably in the week subsequent to that, the last week, just post Christmas. Between Christmas and New Year's, you're going to start to see a very distinct waffling in the market, waffling to the downside, where people are going to start getting out of Tether and moving into different things, and that's going to be when RLUSD, which is the XRP platform, is going to start coming in. And I don't believe that I said that we're weeks away. Correction on that. It's not coming to play. It's not coming to pass until after January 1st because that's when they're allowed to go live. But it's mark my words, it's done. We're ready. All you got to do is just hit the button and make it happen. So RLUSD is the thing now. It's ready to go. It's going to end up taking most of this, and with it, it's going to end up wiping out a lot of markets. Okay, I'll leave it at that on that because we're in the free room. So is there a cause that Bitcoin's going to go down? Oh my God! Give me a day. I'll go through all of it. There's so many reasons why this is going to go down, and so few, if any, reasons why it should go up, other than belief and optimism, which I have none of, in judging by what I see in the world today. So Trump's problems are just going to start going. We're going to start to see the riots. We're going to start to see the panic. We're going to start to see the higher fuel prices, cut off internet, market restrictions, blah blah blah. Just throw a whole menagerie of stuff in there. Yeah, we're going to go down. We're going to go down. I'm not sweating it at all. All right. So several topics I want to talk about. I want to cover. We're talking a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of cryptotherapy on trade sickness here, because in those DMs that I'm getting a lot of very people are on the ledge, and I don't mean to make light of that, but people are on the ledge, and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't know if I'm ever going to be a good trader." Well, I thought that too. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to dig in the old sack of memories here. I'm going to tell you a story, and I've never told this story before, so I'm going to tell it publicly, but I'm going to tell it within this group, so you guys are going to hear some real numbers from me. When I was I don't even remember. I'm just going to say early 30s. So Chase was born in 1996. So this was, 28, almost 29 years ago. He was born in 1996. 1996 was the year where I really hit the big time on multiple things. Now, I had been buying real estate for a few years at that point in time, and not really buying foreclosures. I hadn't gotten into foreclosures at that time, but I had been buying contract houses, and I can't remember how many I had, but this is around about the time to tie old stories together. This is the time when I began to believe in myself. I began to believe that my life could truly change. I had quit my job working for a company called SPAL, SPAL, which makes exotic parts for exotic cars and whatever. Of all places, they shipped it out of Des Moines, Iowa. Go figure, Italian cars. But anyway, I was basically the technical guy for Spalati of Italy. And I just finally had enough bullshit. I had enough real estate where I had minor FU money. I'll just tell you this story in detail. So when my car audio company, I finally got, you guys have heard me talk about how I started my very first multi-million-dollar business out of my living room, selling car audio speakers to kids, and I eventually became a factory, and just things got crazy. I invested that and bought my first little stake of houses, and made a lot of mistakes. Bought houses in the hood. You got to pay your dues. You got to make mistakes. And you got to have that come to Jesus moment where like, what am I doing wrong here? I don't. Start to identify the things that you don't do right. Tony Robbins teaches this. What is it about this that I don't like? And I'm very big on defining what it is. I don't like losing money, first of all. I don't like dealing with hood rat people. So let's not buy houses in the hood anymore, okay? And I don't like to be bothered. I like to go play. I just want you to give me money and go the fuck away. That's what I want. Not a bad goal as a landlord, and so, but it doesn't work that way because you end up plunging toilets at 2 o'clock in the morning. But that's what I wanted. I had defined my terms. I don't want to deal with you. Just give me money and go away. I mean, I know that sounds pretty hard, but So I ended up getting into contract houses. I became a mortgage banker. I would buy the houses, sell the houses, take the payments. You don't ask your banker to plunge your toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't call me either, because I'm a mortgage banker now. And that's when I started Navigator Bank. And I started to really rock and roll. And I started my own personal bank called Navigator. And some of you guys have probably never heard of this story before. And so I banked, my entire family was banked with me, and I had a private bank for a while. And so then I decided, since I'm unbreakable and unbeatable, I'm going to start trading stocks because that's what the Rockefellers do. So this is before the internet. This is before everything else. I took a large stake of money, and I began to do my research on stocks. Now, some of you guys probably don't know who Wade Cook is. You'll have to do, and Wade has suffered some very bad PR for some of it. He got overly optimistic about his abilities. Look up Wade Cook. He's kind of a chubby guy. He looks a little like Economic Ninja, which is funny to me because when I see Economic Ninja, I see Wade Cook, but definitely not the same people. Wade Cook and Tony Robbins had a partnership for a while. I know Wade very, very well because he was part of, when I began my early speaking career, Wade's the one that brought me into it. And what Wade would do is he would actually do kind of what I do for you guys here in the stock market. And this was the early years of the internet. And what he would do is he would do trades, and everybody would copy his trades, and he would put it out on these bulletin boards. This is back when you had to, black and white, you hook in your phone, and I'm like, oh my God, it was so archaic. But so I got hooked in with Wade, and I started to trade, and he started to throw a few stock tips and stuff like that, and I thought I was better than him because I was. I was actually better at picking them on my own. So I decided, why do I want to wait for Wade? Because it became very obvious to me that he was doing what we see going on in the market now, where everybody's throwing, you guys know I don't do this to you, and I vow I will never do this to you. This is why when I do a large trade, I let you know the second. A lot of times you watch me do it live because I don't want to trade it and then tell you I did it, and then you serve as my exit liquidity. I will never do that to you. It is the most, there's a special seat in hell for people that do that. I'm not going to name names, but I will tell you a crypto that's had that happen, and that's Theta. Don't be a sucker for Theta. And things like that. That was pumped up by a group that exited on you. There are rich people because of Theta and because of you. And so I will never, ever, ever do that to you because I've had it happen to me, and it hurts and it burns, and there's just, you just never get over it. But I digress. So anyway, Wade would put out these bullets. He was like, "Oh, I want to buy this stock. I just bought so many shares," and everybody's, "Oh," and then everybody floods in, and then he goes off and plays basketball and does whatever all else he does, and then he once he gets to a certain price, he dumps, and then 15 minutes later, after he's out, he'll put out on the bulletin board, "Yep, I just dumped XYZ stock," and everybody else dumps it. And there was a lot of people, and they were paying him like 2,000. This is back in 1994, 95, I think. They were paying him like $2,200, which is a shitload of money back then for trade advice. Some people, obviously got lucky, and stocks continued to go. And this is before the 2000 stock bubble, so this was a very interesting time. So let's talk about me. What did I do? I basically got the early tickle that I thought this was it seemed very suspect to me that he just never lost. And the reason why is because he was a market maker. He was a market influencer. I thought, bullshit. So I started to do my own research. And this is where I developed the habit of always be in the market first. Be the early guy. And so let me explain the Wall Street Journal to you. So back in the caveman days when we used to trade with stones and sticks and clay tablets before the internet, we used to have this thing called the Wall Street Journal. And what the Wall Street Journal would do is they would put out a page, and they still do, I'm being funny. They put out a page of all the stocks. And so back in the, let's take it back to the, McMoney guys or the Professor Money guys, back in the 1920s to 1950s or 60s or whatever. How'd you buy your stock? Well, you went down to the local newsstand and you got yourself a copy of the Wall Street Journal and you looked at those unbelievably huge collection of stocks and ticker symbols and prices and you tried to make sense of it and you called your broker who didn't know a goddamn thing because he's broke or otherwise he wouldn't be working in an office and you ask him what he thinks. And what does he think? Well, he thinks you should buy it because he's going to get a commission off of it. So you can't get any good help there. And so I'm like, well, shit. So I'm thinking, well, this is the goal. This is where the information comes from. So it's really only that. And I want to define the difference between the Wall Street Journal. I want to get this off my chest here real quick, too. So what's the difference between trading in the stock market back then and trading in the crypto market now? Well, it's trade sickness. And trade sickness comes from this. Back in the 1920s or 1950s or the pre-internet days or pre-crypto days, you had to go down to the newsstand and get your Wall Street Journal, and then you slept. You go to bed and you slept because there wasn't anything going on. But now you could be up at 3 o'clock in the morning eating cake out in your underwear out of your refrigerator and get a whim that, hey, I think I'm going to go see what a crypto market's doing. And at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, you could be, sitting around in your underwear and spend more money than God without doing any research, without giving pause to thought. You could click a button and goodbye. Your fortune is gone because you didn't do your basic fundamental research or you understand what the fuck you just bought. And so that doesn't happen or didn't happen in the old school way of thinking with the crypto market. The stock market's about ready to do what the crypto market's doing, go 24/7, but that's a completely different story. So it's a different type of investor. It's a different type of mentality. But we still have a timing thing. Whoever gets there first makes the money. And I realized that early on in the game, in my game. And so I live in a very interesting area. It's funny because I lived at the time I lived in Des Moines, Iowa, and it's like, what's going on in Des Moines? Nothing? Well, yeah, there's a lot of things going on in Des Moines if you care to pay attention and you're in the right circles. One of the things is it's a hub for the printing of the Wall Street Journal. Big deal? Well, it is a big deal, and I'll tell you why. Because there is a practice with the Wall Street Journal that they know they've got gold, and they don't allow anyone to see that information until it gets out to a certain point. So let me explain how the Wall Street Journal is printed, because I've been in publishing for a good long time. So now the Wall Street Journal is published out of Des Moines, Iowa. No, it's not. It's published out of California now, but it's originally, it has its roots in New York at Wall Street. And so what they do is they gather all the data and they beam it by satellite to all the print shops around. And lo and behold, a print shop was 2 miles from my house. So the zone, the regional Iowa, Midwest, Nebraska, Kansas City, Iowa, Missouri hub for the Wall Street Journal was actually about 1.5 miles from my house. And so I thought, in my infinite wisdom, what if I could get there before everybody else, get me a copy of the Wall Street Journal before it hits the newsstand at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or whatever at Barnes & Noble. I would have an hour lead time or 2 or 3 hour lead time on everybody else because my broker opened up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I could be there before the bell, have my research done. And so, brilliant. So that's what I did. I went and I researched and I found out, where's the Wall Street Journal published? And then I found out. So I drove down there and I talked to the printer and they said, yeah, we can't give that to you. I go, why is that? He goes, well, because contractually we can't let you have it before 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, then I will take it at 4:01. And so I went down there every morning. religiously. I would roll out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. And you guys know me well enough to know that in and of itself is a story. Getting up at 4, not being awake at 4, getting up at 4. I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or before 4 o'clock in the morning. I would go down to the loading docks where they load the trucks to take the Wall Street Journal, and I'd get myself a hot copy of that. I'd take it home, and I'd spend from 4 o'clock to 6:45 researching what is it, what looks like a deal, what looks like a deal, what looks like a deal. And I would get the gestalts and all the little tickles and stuff. This looks good, this looks good, this looks good. And now I'm going to tell you a story from history. And most of you guys can research this. Some of you have probably heard it. Many of you guys are old enough to remember this pre-market bubble. I was one of those millionaires. So have any of you ever heard of a stock called IOmega? IOmega, and for those of you that don't know, was a flash in the pan. Basically, it was a disk drive company, for lack of a better word. Now, so let me take you back to the mid 90s. The hot way to store, this is before CDs and everything, was a 3 1/4 floppy disk drive. That's those little cassette type things. So IOmega came out with this kind of a maxi deal that held, I think, like 50 or 100 times more data. It looked just like one of those 3 1/4, only it was bigger. It was actually a very good system. It was an IOmega drive is what it was called. And let me tell you what, when I bought this, so to get back into the actual story, so it was a disk drive company. I'll just leave it at that for this. And it was very, very hot, very, very hot. It was the darling of Wall Street, early tech company, bubble, pre Silicon Valley bubble. And so this is when Yahoo was new, just to kind of take you into a little space and place and time. And so at the price that I bought it for about 2 cents. And some of you are probably reading ahead here a little bit. Yes, in fact, I made about $147 per stock. So I made an awful lot of money. From 2 cents to 147 was my sell price. And so that's how I became a multiple millionaire and gave it away. I'm going to tell you the give it away story because this is relevant to the story that we're in right now and some of the DMs that are coming in. I have never seen, at that point in my life, I've never seen more money in my bank account than I saw overnight, practically overnight. To go from 2 cents buying thousands of shares of IOmega, and watch it go to $150, 147 when I got cold feet and sold. I sold at the top. Shortly after, it just tanked. So I don't even know. I haven't looked back since then. But here's what I want to tell you, and this is relevant to the story that I'm going to finish out here, and I'm going to bring it back full square to the crypto market. So we see a lot of these things in the crypto market, a lot of comparisons. I see a lot of comparisons to the way things are. Look at this crypto, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. Surely it's going to go up more. And greed. I termed trade sickness from IOmega because I got trade sickness, and so I have a lot of sub stories I want to make sure I cover in all this because it's very important that you understand this whole painting and not just a section of it. So I'm now coming out of basically being an early real estate investor, win. Now I've made an absolute fortune in stocks, win. I'm in my early 30s. Chase is about ready to be born. I'm about ready to buy my dream house. There is nothing going wrong in my life. Not a thing. And so 3 days, I named it and claimed it. I said, someday I'm going to live in this house. And the house that I picked for myself went up for sale. I said, I told my mom, I'm going to live in this beautiful 8-bedroom, mansion in this exclusive area of Des Moines. And I'm going to move into it before Chase was born. And I named it and I claimed it. And it wasn't even for sale. And 3 days before Chase was born, we moved in. It became for sale, and then we moved in. Nothing in my life was going wrong. Now, what we will see in the crypto market is some direct correlation. You know, when you guys are riding high on your wins, you feel unbreakable and unbeatable, and then you start looking for the next deal. And that's exactly the wrong way to do things. So let's take you back to Crypto Rich, who never seems to ever make a mistake. There's a reason for that. Because first of all, he's a good friend of mine now. He's, you know, since that first 10 wins, you know, he's not that far away from where I'm at. He's just lucky. And so he lives up in the corner of Nebraska and Iowa, or right now he's in Thailand. But you know, he met me back in the real estate seminar days, and you know, you guys have heard this story. He asked me about Doge. I showed him Doge, but you know, I never was a Doge fan. It is what it is. It's a top 10 coin or whatever. But here's the thing that I want to impress upon you as part of this story. Why does he always seem to just murder it with Doge? And some of you guys do, and some of you guys don't. Some of you guys coattail a little success, and then you're like, okay, I want another hit. You know, Daddy, give me another. You know, give me some more heroin. You know. But you always seem to notice that he never seems to make an appearance until it's Doge time. There's a reason for that. And you notice that I seem to constantly talk about XRP and very little else sometimes. There's a reason for that. Because I believe that you should specialize on a certain coin or number of coins and know it backward, forward, sideways, diagonally. You know, every you know, you should get up under the hood, look out, you know, get out on the ground and roll around there. You should know everything about a certain coin. And there is nobody in this group, and probably nobody I know at all, that knows Doge better over these last couple of years than Rich does, because he spends a lot of time. But you'll notice he's not in every single trade, and he gets out before the top. We don't know the top. You know, you never go broke taking a profit. Yeah, Doge ran a whole lot more after he got out, but he's got his money. How many of you can say that? And so I want to, before I get too far down the run, I will come back to this thing because there's so much I want to kind of impart to you here about the difference between the crypto market and the stock market and liquidity exits. And I'm saying this to kind of remind myself of what I want to get. And I don't want to rub this stuff, my toys, in your face. I show you once in a while. It's just my life. I'm at this level. My financial thermostat is you know, oh, you always talk about your cars. I don't talk about my cars a lot. I love my cars. I have 36 cars. And so I trade them. I'm a car guy. I'm sorry. But I'm also a lot of other things too that you don't hear about. And so I owned an airport at one point in time. I know airplanes very, very well because I was constantly, damn things were constantly landing at my building all the time. So I was exposed. And so I told Rich, so this last trade that happened, a lot of the diamonds, a lot of the pros got in on Doge and just absolutely assassinated it. And I said it was coming, and they just murdered it. And so Rich went in, and I believe he made something like $600,000 on this trade. He didn't go hot and heavy because I told him I don't think that I would probably, you know, I was nervous. And you guys remember me talking about this. I said I was nervous that you know, just don't push it all to the middle, you know, and better to play it safe than play it stupid. And so, yeah, it went up a lot higher. So he got out here at the purple line. Fair enough. He's got his money. How many other people don't? Because they sold too soon, didn't have the faith, didn't jumped in too late, whatever. He made his money. And so are we going to see any more? I have my doubts about it, but that's not the story that I want to tell you. So when you get to a certain point, I'm going to take this a different way. When you get to a certain point where you've made an obscene amount of money, there's another thing that starts to happen in your life. And I've had this happen many times with myself, where, you know, you guys have probably heard me say this, you know, hey, I'm going to go buy a jet ski. And, you know, then everybody, hey, let's go jet ski. And you talk to all your broke-ass dirtbag friends, and they're like, I've got a jet ski. Oh, okay, well, I'll buy 2 jet skis. You can go ride mine and tear it up. You know, that gets really old. You know, where you just go, oh, I can't get time off to go ride the free jet ski you bought for me and pay for my gas and everything. It's just like, I need a better class of friends. Jesus Christ. So that's why I go racing Porsches, is I have a better class of friends. I have friends in those groups, it's not about the car. It's about the camaraderie. It's about the experience. It's about the fun. This is part of the reason I live in Thailand. You don't meet an awful lot of people that are broke that move to Thailand. The people I meet in Thailand are incredible people. They have absolutely murdered life. There's nobody in the Philippines. It's a different deal. There's a bunch of broke non-vets living over there. But in Thailand, it's cool as hell. You meet people that have won. They've won. They've got out of the matrix. And I want this so badly for you guys to taste a little bit of this, because once you've had this, you can't have bologna sandwiches. Once you had steak, you cannot do it again. And so Rich, my birthday is recently came about 12 days ago. Yeah, about 12 days ago. He goes, I just realized I never bought you anything for your birthday. And I go, you don't have to buy me anything. He goes, no, 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 no. He goes, I told myself, I was gonna surprise you at some point in time. I go, well, okay. He goes, you used to own an airport. That airport, right? He goes, what did you like the most? And we've talked about this many times. I said, well, there's a plane called CT that I really like. I've been looking at this amphibious plane that lands on water. Not too much of a fan of the quality or the stories I'm hearing with the planes, but we talked an awful lot about this. And he goes, have you ever thought about a helicopter? I said, yeah, but the cost of owning a helicopter is just onerous. I mean, you don't buy it once, you buy it twice. And so we've been talking an awful lot about stuff. He goes, hey, there's this other thing that we've talked about a few times. He goes, you ever thought about owning one of these? I said, I have. I've been actually thinking about it. And he goes, let me buy you one. So I want to show you what Rich just bought me. He just bought me a Cavalon auto gyro, and this is what an auto gyro. Some of you guys have probably watched Mad Max and seen that weird guy flying around in that thing. That's what this is, and so you can relax and you think, oh Christ, he's going to be flying around in a helicopter and he's going to fall down like Jay Snip and die. No, you. It's very hard to wreck an auto gyro because basically if the power cuts out, you just float down like a leaf and touch the ground. These are incredibly safe, and so Rich, this isn't mine. This is actually one from the place in California that sells them. But I think I'm obviously probably gonna get a red one, but or a bright DeWalt yellow one. But he said, I'm gonna buy you one of these. Well, we're gonna buy some, so we'll both have them. So when we want to go somewhere, let's just get in the auto gyro and just go, man. They take off out of your 400-foot yard, just go. This is the kind of freedom and this is the kind of life that crypto will allow you. But to tie all this back together, when you've got to pay your dues. I worked very hard to get myself to a point in life where I can just go out and buy a Lamborghini, where I can go out and buy a Auburn Bowtail Speedster, where I can go out and pay off a house, where I can get a mansion in Thailand, where I could do. I worked my full fucking head off to get to this point. So you guys are coming in late and hearing the stories going, man, I'll never get there. Yes, you will get there, but you're going to have to pay your dues. You're going to have to walk through the valley of death first. There's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. And the thing that I want to tell you is this. It the time, and you've heard me say this many, many times, but the time when you fail is the time when you stop trying. My dad imparted this on me a long, long time ago. And I know a lot of you have lost a lot of money. So let's get back to the IOmega story. And how did that pan out? So life ended great for me. No, it didn't. No, it didn't actually. So all of the money, and I do mean all and some, that I made on IOmega, I thought I was unbreakable, unbeatable, unstoppable. And so I got up again at 4:30 in the morning. I got a little sloppy in my trades. I started to just pick anything with a low price, and I paid dearly. So set your seatbelt on. I'm going to tell you how much money I lost. So any of you guys crying to me about how much you've lost, trust me, I've lost more. I lost $475 million. $475 million in 1996. Get you some of that. Now, when I'm surrounded by a wife that didn't understand how we made it, and I'm surrounded by people that are only so happy to tell me about, oh my God, it's terrible what happened, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, I've walked through the valley of death. I got this. I got the sunburns to prove it. But here I am, richer than I've ever been. My life is an inspiring one, guys. And it's one that if you copy it or if you learn from it, if you take anything from it and you see yourself in any of it, it can change you for the better. It can help you ride out some very tough times because I've been through the toughest times you could possibly imagine. And I rise every single time. And the reason I do, some of you who are new to the group have never heard this story, so I'm going to tell it again because I think it's very important that you learn it. So I learned to ride a bicycle in Clive, Iowa, at our last house we lived at as a family before moving into mobile homes and a whole series of events that happened after my dad's 5th heart attack. The last house I lived in had a yard that moved from north to south downhill. And on the southern end of the front yard, this is an acreage. On the southern end of the front yard, my mom had some beautiful rose bushes, very thorny rose bushes. And my dad bought me a red Western Flyer bicycle. Very first bike. I begged Dad for this. This is like, the epitome of, I can't be anything unless I have a red bicycle, a red Western Flyer bicycle. So my dad proudly went out and did that. Now, my dad, for those of you who don't know, is a Rear Admiral, retired Navy man. Not a beta male at all, certainly not. And he expects performance from his men, and I'm one of his men. So he attaches that sort of mentality to rearing a child, and it served him very well. And it served me very well because I pass it on to Chase, and then pass it on to Adam, and I have 2 exceptional drug-free, problem-free kids as a result of it. So the man knew how to raise kids. Tough, but with love. Now my mom, being completely the opposite. She's, give them food, give them hugs, give them kisses, allow them to cry and whatever. My dad was not going to let that happen. So the day I learned to ride a bicycle, he took me out to the front, took me to the northern side of the yard in the driveway, and I started to pedal. And I wobbled, and if you remember this is the day of taking off the training wheels, and I wobbled around. And I began to pick up speed, and things began to look good. And I began to go across the yard. And then, sure as you can expect, I hit the rose bushes. And so isn't that a metaphor for investing? Things are going really great. Everything's downhill. You're not putting anything effort. And then you hit the rose bushes. And then this is what happened. I didn't hit the rose bushes. I embedded myself in the rose bushes. I was deep in it because I was going... I can remember it so well, like it just happened an hour ago. God, I was pissed. I was mad. I was crying. I was screaming. And my mom, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. And all I ever heard from my dad was, get up! Get up! And I hear my mom in the background, and I'm like, I don't want, get up! Get up! Pick the bike up. And I slammed the bike down, and I said, I'm never going to touch this bike again. Again, my dad, get up! Get back on that bike. And he wasn't going to take no for an answer. Get on that bike! And my mom, trying to make me feel good or whatever, my dad was immovable. Get back on that bike. And that's what I'm going to tell you. Get back on the investing. Don't be sending me DMs telling me about how you think you suck at crypto. I just told you how much money I lost. I'm not on a bike. I'm on a goddamn motorcycle. I'm on a rocket ship now because I got back on. And you're going to get back on too. And I'm not going to let you walk away. Get out in your garage. I've been giving you the game plan. Get out in your garage. Get in your storage shed. Get somewhere. Find capital. You got time. Get back on the bike. This is serious, guys. This is how you're going to be able to go to the islands with me, to buy helicopters, to live the life that you say you want. Get on the bike. Learn from my father. Don't take no for an answer. Don't slam your bicycle down. Don't sit and cry in the rose bushes. Get back on the bike. This is serious. And I'm serious. I'm here to help. But I can't help you if you won't help yourself. Don't cry to me. I love you very much, guys, but you got to listen to me. Stop licking your wounds. They do no good. Pick up and move on. I've been busted to levels you can't even fucking wrap your mind around. And I bounce back. How many stories have I told you about making it and losing it? Proved it to you. Showed you the places I've lived. And here I am, richer than ever. Paid for houses, paid for cars, paid for mansions in other countries, paid for passports in 5 countries. I have a life you wish you had and you will get if you listen to me. I'm nothing special. I just don't give up. I do not slam my bike down. I get the fuck out of the rose bushes and I get up. I face life. I don't run from it. And you never fail. You never ever fail until you accept failure. Okay?